Hello and welcome to the Giraffe Social Media Podcast. It's what social media managers are talking about. I'm Ellie and today I'm joined by Katie and Alicia. Coming up on this week's episode, we will be discussing the rise of the creator economy. Plus, we'll discuss our top tips and advice on how brands and businesses can make the most of the creator economy. Firstly, some of you might not know what is the creator economy. Basically, it's defined as the class of businesses built by over 50 million independent content creators, curators, and community builders, which includes social media influencers, bloggers, and videographers, as well as the software and finance tools designed to help them with growth and monetization. So, to put it into a more simpler term, the creator economy is an individual business that monetizes their skills for a business or brand. Therefore, influencer marketing can also be seen as an offshoot of the creator economy, as the two are closely linked, but they do have some key differences. More than 50 million people around the world consider themselves to be creators, despite the creator economy only being born just over a decade ago by YouTube when they first started to monetize their content in 2011. This led to social media switching from not just being about sharing what you're up to, but also an advertising platform, and that is where the creator economy was born. So the creator economy is already valued at over £78.1 billion, believe it or not. It's quite a hefty figure. And yeah, while it does seem like a hefty figure, given the increasingly digital landscape of our daily lives, especially during the last couple of years with the pandemic, I can't say it's particularly surprising. So ladies, I'm going to throw it to you guys. What do you think about the rise of the creator economy?
So for me, I don't know. I just feel like it makes sense because we've got this whole we've got this whole space now on social media where every social media platform has so many tools that make creating content and just creating in general like so much more accessible. Like, if you just have your phone, you can have, instead of like paying for Photoshop, you can have like Canva, or you can have Pixar. Instead of like paying for Premiere Pro, you can have CapCut, or just use like in-app features on like Instagram Reels if you're one of those rare people that makes it in-app on Instagram Reels, or on TikTok, which we all know is the superior editing software out of the two. But that's my personal bias. But yeah, like I think now more than ever before, like we've got this whole like internet space where people can create as much as they can and do everything they can. Yeah, and I think, it doesn't surprise me that we're reaching a point where it is such a, like, the creator economy is so big now because there's just so much opportunity to become a creator.
Mm-hmm. I mean, especially as it says, it's like supposedly 50 million people calling themselves these creators. I just think that's crazy, especially like for brands. They have such a big pool of creators to kind of choose from. And it is kind of linked into influencer marketing. And obviously, we've already spoken about influencer marketing before and how, that's grown massively. So it all kind of interlinks. And like you said, every single platform offers some form of monetization. And like obviously, TikTok is kind of one of the last ones to jump on that kind of creator economy, I guess. Was it the Creator Fund? Yeah. So, in the end, all social media platforms are kind of jumping on this and contributing to the rise and kind of the peak of what it's at now. But yeah, what do you think, Alicia?
Yeah, no, I completely agree with like Katie. I think brands are definitely like very much in, like, they love the idea of like users creating the content nowadays. Like obviously user generated content is one of like the best form of content. People trust people, and therefore, loads of people nowadays shop online, especially with like the pandemic. People have gotten used to that kind of like form of shopping. I know I do it a lot. I don't know if you guys do. So, you know, so they're like, people are shopping online, and what do people do before they shop online? They like look for reviews. And I think video form creator form like reviews are like the most popular form of like reviews nowadays, whether it be influencers or just like normal people. So like I'm definitely like not surprised as well, like at the rise of it.
Well, kind of going off of that, actually, like that raised an interesting point that I'd like just thought of. But yeah, like in app now. Like, it's so easy to be monetized in app, whereas before, like, you could only have like partnerships, or even like, I remember back in the days of YouTube, like early YouTube, like you could only be monetized if you were with like a multi like network channel. Like you had to be partnered with someone to even get that money. Whereas now you've got, on Twitch you can subscribe, you can do super chats, you can pay your creator directly as an audience member. And there's this whole idea of like tip jar, like the tip jar concept. So yeah, so it's like, even on Instagram now, like you can subscribe to people on Instagram for exclusive content. It's the same on Facebook as well. And then, even just delving deeper into like, businesses, I guess, is kind of along the same lines as this. Like Instagram, you've got Shopify like integrated into that. And then on TikTok as well, they got the TikTok shop where you can buy like a whole rotisserie chicken for some reason. I don't know if you guys saw that, or if that's just my side of TikTok.
They're
I mean,
crazy.
I can't say I'm on that side of TikTok, but we do get TikTok shop.
Yeah. But no, there was this thing where you could buy like a whole rotisserie chicken, and it was a trend. See, Alicia gets it.
I just don't understand where it came from. It's so weird, isn't it? It's just stupid stuff.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it's just like so interesting how like the creator economy has just become like so ingrained in apps now that you can pay your creator directly. You can tip them like you would with like an artist or a musician.
I mean, I think linking into that is, I think originally it started off with kind of being like brand ambassadors or kind of influencers or creators. They kind of overlap. Got gifted items from brands. I feel like that's how initially it started, especially kind of thinking back to like early YouTube days, as they were kind of one of the first platforms to really like grow, and then obviously the creator economy rose from there.
Yeah, no, like gifting, I mean, it is still like a really good way to collaborate with influencers. Obviously when you are gifting, there's the risk that they might not post if there's no payment involved, no contract involved. But I think creators have a lot more understanding of the worth of their work now as well. Like you said, gifting, like in the early days of the creator economy, was such a powerful tool. But I think, I mean, in my experience, from like influencer manager perspective, it's not as a successful a strategy anymore, because people rightfully should be paid for the content they're creating,
I mean, I think also brands send out PR boxes all the time. So if you're an influencer or a content creator and you're inundated with these PR boxes, you're not going to be posting every single one. And just from following like a few small content creators, they don't post about their PR boxes. They only post the ones that they really, really like. And obviously, especially on like Instagram, you have to you have to put out a disclaimer now, don't you, with PR boxes or ad products and stuff. And I just think it's too much hassle for them. Whereas like back in the old days, that sounds so
the old days,
but it is.
The old days of 2016, where there were no regulations.
That's the thing, they didn't have to worry about that stuff. Whereas now, I think, as Alicia previously said, people want that sort of authenticity with the content that's being created. And if these content creators and influencers are just posting about these ad products that they've got, or monetization products, then consumers switch off. It's just kind of the trend that's kind of interlinking with the rise of the creator economy. Another point I was going to make is that obviously kind of with the rise, and we've seen like more platforms kind of arise from this. And I think more recently, like streaming platforms like Twitch have kind of come about. I'm not a big Twitch user. I've never really gone onto the site. But I just think there's so much breadth to what content can be created. And I think that's why there is such a large amount of creators now, because the platforms are endless. It's not just your typical traditional advertising on YouTube, for example.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know, kind of jumping off of that, like I think on platforms like Twitch and everything like that, where the audience is donating directly to the creator. Like that, people are happy with that. But I think there's potentially, I don't want to call it a dark side of the creator economy because I feel like that's far too dramatic. But I think there's an element of it where creators, you know, if they're starting off like humble, authentic, they're just like me. You know, that's like the really good rise. But then I feel like, and I think we've discussed this in a previous episode as well, when we've talked about authenticity being a really key thing and relatability. I think when creators reach a certain size where their ranking in the creator economy is just so high and aspirational and almost unattainable to like the everyday user and creator, I think the audience does start to turn off from that as well. So it's like a very big balancing act there. Because obviously people deserve to be paid and get the money they deserve for their work and their content they're creating. But the audience might push back against that. And I think that's like a big reality of the creator economy.
Yeah, you've definitely like touched on the fine line between the two. But one thing I was going to quickly say, which is kind of a tangent away from kind of what you were saying, is TikTok, I feel like have really cleverly are really cleverly monetizing their kind of creator content, especially with TikTok lives, not even necessarily the TikTok shop. I just think the TikTok lives, where they have the feature where people can literally send the creators money, like you said with Twitch and how it's going directly to the creators. It's the same with the TikTok lives. I mean, I can't say that I've ever sent
sunglasses.
Yeah, like I've never sent that, but I've seen it is like it's a real thing. This is when you guys do this on every single evening. You're sending.
Don't expose me. What I do on my own time is my own time.
But no, like obviously it has kind of changed, and I feel like that's TikTok, especially is one of like the only platforms that is doing this. And I quite like seeing it. I like seeing that people are kind of sending money into these creators, especially if they are on these TikTok lives and providing like advice or guidance. They're the ones I typically get on. I don't know why, but
or those like weird tarot card readers telling you your future and stuff.
Yes,
I do get them as well. It's really fun.
It's sometimes I believe it, sometimes I don't.
Yeah, literally. I believe what I want to hear.
Yeah, exactly. I was just going to say, obviously, like going off the back of that, obviously, I don't know if this is like creator economy based, but obviously TikTok with the lives, and obviously there's so many forms of ways that fans can pay the creators, or like the app, or just like different types of brands, and I think that's become so popular. I feel like TikTok is like now become one of those, I mean, it's still fun to use, but it is very like, you can tell there's money everywhere, if that makes sense. And I think a lot of it is very original to TikTok, but I think apps like Instagram, Facebook, obviously the metaverse and stuff like that, love that idea, and I think they're incorporating it into their own like metaverse situation, but I don't think it's working as well as they'd like it to. So I guess like in a sense that the whole creator economy stuff, like that's original to the apps that are like original to it. It only works with certain type of demographic. That's the word I was looking for.
Thing is, I think with there being 50 million creators, or even more as we speak, I think it's just a very oversaturated area currently, and it will continue to be that way. I think back when it first started, brands were making millions from kind of monetizing these new creators that just suddenly came out of nowhere, but obviously now it is the norm, and you do see it, like you said, on every single platform, and you know that there's money being pumped into different creators and different avenues, and these brand ambassadors are everywhere as well. So I don't know, I think it's going to continue to rise, but it'll be interesting to see kind of how it develops and how brands kind of change up their strategy moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, like the oversaturation bit, obviously you now have like kids wanting to grow up wanting to be like YouTube content creators or TikTok influencers. Yeah, exactly. They want their goal, their like life goal, life purpose is to become these influencers. So it's just going to keep saturating. So I completely agree with that.
Now it's time for our tips and tricks segment, where we share what we've learned in the world of social media and how you can apply it to your social strategy. Now we've discussed the rise of the creator economy, it's time for us to provide you with some of our top tips and advice for how brands and businesses can utilise the creator economy. So Katie, do you want to jump in with your tip first?
Sure. Okay. So, this is a bit of a weird one, but bear with me. As per usual, I may have misunderstood the question, but my tip is kind of fighting against the creator economy a little bit. Not necessarily in a monetary value, but more in a community value, you know, building like the economy of community. There you go. That's a nice hippy dippy way of saying it. But we all know the new app, the new craze sweeping the nation and the world, Be Real. I think this, in the next few months, maybe, is going to have huge potential for creators and for brands as well. I think a few brands are already jumping on the train as well to have like special reveals, like first looks, all of these things on their Be Real exclusively for these people that are following them. So I think it's potentially a really good way to, like, you know, go with the creator economy, but minimally, you know? And I think as well, over the next few months, where Be Real is getting more and more popular, the trend with apps like that is just to start working out how you can balance the interests of like the core audience that you had before and then the brands and how to monetize that so you can keep scaling it. So I think, you know, in a few months' time, Be Real is kind of, I mean, I'll probably be proven wrong because I'm putting this out into the universe now, but I think Be Real has the potential to be a huge driving force in the creator economy because you have the potential to be driving those sales whilst appearing authentic, like you do on TikTok and like people used to on Instagram, you know?
Mm-hmm. No, definitely. I think that's a fantastic tip.
Thank you.
Alicia, do you have a tip?
I do. So I think obviously not agreeing with Katie there. Sorry, Katie. But maybe
Wow.
maybe I mean like a tip for brands so that they can utilize it is that they should probably understand the demographic they're trying to reach. I don't know if that's coming off the bat of it, but obviously understanding who you're selling to and why you're selling to them, all those questions, because like if you understand your demographic, if you understand the people that you're selling to, then you're able to then obviously pick out the right segment of the creator economy, and that can advantage like a brand money wise. Like you don't want to be spending money on creators that aren't going to do your brand justice in a way. Like obviously you don't want to be spending money on a beauty influencer when you're in the gaming industry, and obviously just knowing your audience and what they like to like look at and who they like to view and all that kind of stuff, I guess.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, creator partnerships obviously offer marketers a much more authentic way of kind of achieving their goals, whether that's kind of increasing sales or increasing brand awareness. I think that's a really important tip that you've raised.
Thank you.
My tip is to do with product placement. And obviously we've already spoken about the oversaturation of kind of the creator economy and the amount of creators and influencers that are kind of within the social media space. So linking back into what I was saying about TikTok lives or, you know, TikTok shops, I think that's like a really great way of kind of subtly showing your product offering without kind of coming across too like sales heavy. I just think just having it there, I just think it would be a great way to kind of utilize the creator economy with something that's kind of on the rise, that is TikTok Shop or TikTok live streams. And it's really simple, and I think would be very effective for brands as well. Well, that's all that we've got time for today. If you enjoyed this week's episode, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And if you'd like to leave us a review on your favourite podcast app, we'd really appreciate it. We've been Giraffe Social Media, you've been amazing, and we'll see you next time.